All right, why don't you go ahead and
Okay,
let's talk about Cliche Joe.
Okay, unload on the cliche clip here, because this will sort of put it all in perspective.
All across America, communities are hurting, with too many people left out or left behind. Our political system is broken. We're tearing America apart instead of lifting it up. And in my view, the major moral obligation of our time is to restore, rebuild, and respect the backbone of America, the middle class. As we rebuild it, we need this rebuilding to be all-inclusive, opening the doors to opportunity for all Americans, no matter their race, their gender, who they love, no matter who or where they're from.
I think that's about 5, arguably 6 cliches in a 30-second soundbite.
He's got my vote. I mean...
And by the way, my favorite thing that he loves parroting his former President Obama is he loves to talk about, that's not who we are.
Right.
That's not who we are. Yeah. This is who we are. This is not who we are.
It worked very well for Obama.
It worked well for Obama, but it's a pretty cheap knockoff.
Well, he's going to discover very
Biden.
soon that he's not Barack Hussein Obama. The press just had, if you ever see somebody who is just truly, truly head over heels in love with someone, and they cannot see anything wrong with what that person may do, just like, the sun rises and falls and,
on him,
on them.
Yes.
That's how I think that so many of the mainstream press thought about Barack Obama. And so he could do all those things.
To a point where Obama actually lost respect for the fawning media because it was too easy.
You cannot respect a bootlicker,
It was
Tim.
too easy.
No, yeah. He had contempt for them.
He did. Now, I want to do one other. It's not a cliche, but it's going to become a cliche because Biden has...
Let me just go back to that point for a second.
Yeah.
That's what Ben Rhodes, right? That's what we have with Ben Rhodes and the John Favreau, I think it is, right? Those salespersons for Obamacare, they talked about the contempt for the press. They'll just, they've got somebody, they're 6 months out of Sarah Lawrence, and
we'll tell them anything they want, and they'll just swallow it whole. They'll swallow it whole.
So anyway.
Here's a line along the line of cliches. We can get this one out of the way. This is a line that he has used. He's only been in the race for, a week? But he made some speeches before that. He's used this line, it's got to be a dozen times already in his campaign, and it's all about his father and what he told him about a job. This is a line he uses all the time.
I think a lot about my dad, a proud, gentle man. My dad had an expression. He said, Joey, a job is about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about your place in the community.
Okay, so
It's about being able to look at your kid and say, honey, it's going to be okay, and mean it.
Okay, so expect...
It's not about putting food in your mouth.
No,
Tim.
expect cheeky. No, it's not. It's not about putting a jingle in your pocket, Scott. It's the cliche honoring of his father that he's going to do over and over and over again. I'm just warning everyone.
It is, I think I'm willing to say this, I think he just lies. He makes up these stories about his father and others.
Joey.
And I think it's just, he thinks it's like a convenient way to sort of spin a web or make a point. And I'll tell you this is what really kind of drilled in for me on it. It's when he talked about how his father cried when he couldn't secure a loan in order to send Joe Biden to college. Now, to put that in perspective, Joe Biden was born in 1942. So 17 years plus 1942. Tim, I'll let you do. Tim does math on the podcast. What?
1959.
Okay, so the idea for people who are significantly younger than Joe Biden, and this may be something that they could anticipate or think happening in 2019, the idea that you said 59, right? Mm-hmm. In 1959, that an American who was basically lower working class would think that a bank would grant them a loan to send their kid to college and that they would weep when they couldn't get the loan. I think that's a lie because I have many, many family members who were born about that time. And they all worked to get through college. Back then, before the government started giving out massive, massive loans and guaranteeing college debt, colleges kept their prices low enough that a person who they wished to be their customer literally could go to work in the breaks for college. It wasn't necessarily an easy life. They probably had to work their, work pretty hard during the summers and the breaks, but you could earn enough money, especially if you had a parent's or relative's, free room, right? I mean, maybe you couldn't have it with a nice apartment or live on campus, but you could get through and get a college degree without a loan just by working. And I really do think it's important to call Joe on what I think are these stories that conveniently fit his whatever narrative he's telling about.
But they are heartrending, Scott. Come on, you're just so heartless and cold. I mean, Joey, a job is more than just.
You're right, though. We're going to have to hear it the whole time.